Hi, dear students. Welcome back to another session of Human Resource Management. This is the session of 41, where I am going to discuss on the topic group discussion. This is one a topic that we will use in many occasions that where recruitment and then selection process has to be done by that organization and then that the companies. And then, dear students, I want to tell you this chapter is the fourth chapter, which is entitled Recruitment and Selection. Is a huge chapter which will contains nearly 16 sessions. That I discussed in the many sessions that two, three chapters are having only 11 sessions each. But here, this chapter containing many contents, so that's why I have to give elaborate discussion, and also that's why I have to give elaborate details to you people. Let's move on to the what it is all about group discussion, particularly in this session of 41. And then here, before I'm going to make it out the what are the behaviors and then what are the types of group discussion, let us have what it is all about group discussion is. So, would you believe it or not, in an organization, particularly either it may be in the private sector or it may be in the public sector, they will have these types of group discussion to make sure that they will have ensure that there should be a self-esteem should be included by that candidate or to the by that employee, because if he is not having self-esteem which includes the behavior, thinking and then attitude, the behavior, thinking and then attitude which will carry self-esteem, that self-esteem will be collected and then will be appears while we are conducting these types of group discussion, especially in the companies or in the organization. Let's move on. That is what it is all about. Group discussion is an average group discussion usually features 10 to 15 participants. The group discussion process begins by the announcement of the topic to the group, which is usually followed by the preparation time of 3 to 5 minutes. More than 5 minutes preparation time may be given only if the group discussion is a case study discussion and as a long case statement, as in my PPT that I incorporated or I mentioned there in my PPT. This is what the group discussion is all about. At the end of preparation time, the panel signals the group to commence the discussion, and from then on plays the role of non-participating observer are also to be considered. This means that the discussion is not moderated or not anchored by the panelist. The group members must discuss the topic where the discussions should be happen, which is deemed to be appropriate without any kind of suggestion from the panel. The panel expects no particular order or speakers to be followed, nor a minimum duration of speaking to be followed by individual participants. This is what the things could be in group discussion. When we are going to further discuss the meaning of group discussion, the average duration of most group discussion is 15 minutes, not including the preparation time, which will always exclude the preparation time. In some exceptional cases, such as IIFT, there should be they will consider 30 to 45 minutes of group discussion there in IIFT. The group discussion may be continue up to 45 minutes, as I said now. One must remember that the longer the group discussion goes on, more seriously the panel looks at the quality of the content, where that content includes facts, analysis, explanation and argument of that participant. So this is how things could be. As I said, the group of 10 to 15 members which will contain in the group discussion, or it may be the contain the 5 to 10 members of the group discussion. There may be a time limit also the permits, that is 15 to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, which will extend it to that group discussion in that particular group, where that members altogether they will decide. The panel usually consists of 3 or 4 panelists who look at the various aspects of the participants' content and delivery. Please remember that the panelists may end the group discussion whenever they want to, and also extend the group discussion for as much as they want to know. Nobody among the participants is supposed to keep time for the group or act an assumption that the group discussion will end after the 15 minutes. They have to recall all the issues that were that panelists are appointed for to see the process of that group discussion, particularly from that members. The group discussion ends in either of the two ways. First one is the panel may abruptly stop the group discussion and announce the end of the process, and this is what the one way of the ways in followed in group discussion. The second one is they may ask to the participant, or more than one participant is there, to summarize the group discussion. This is what the things could be in the group, that one must start, and then one must moderate, and then one must make the body of that language, that what it is all about in the group, and then the last one is they must summarize that discussion in that group only. If you are asked to summarize, do remember what summary means is all about, because executive summary is one that we will come up with sum up to that group discussion, which will always a summary cannot have anything it that was not discussed during the group discussion. It will be discussed in the end of that group discussion only. I especially stress this point as the participants who have been mostly quiet during the group discussion are usually asked to summarize it, and they tend to take this opportunity to air their views which are not presented during the discussion. The summary must be an objective recapitulation of the important points brought up during the discussion and the conclusion of the discussion, particularly that from that group member. This is what all about the meaning of the group discussion is all about. In my first PPT that I have took elaborative meaning, and then the process of group discussion, how it should be, particularly in an organization or in the company. Let's move on to the second slide, that what are the discussion, or what types of group discussion, or what are the various types of group discussion are appear in group discussion. Let's discuss. There are three types of discussions are there. Number one is topical group discussions. Second one is case studies. Number three is abstract group discussions. See, this is three kinds of group discussion are most appears in group discussion, particularly under multinational corporations, and also those who are working in the other companies, particularly under private sectors. Number one is topical group discussion, and what it is all about. Topical group discussions which are based on current affairs or static matters. For example, a group discussion on the topic of recent demonetization of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes would be the former, whereas the group discussion on whether India should adopt a presidential model of democracy would be the latter, as it has no limitation of the time frame for this topic as for the concern, particularly in the group discussion, because choosing the topic is also very much important by doing a group discussion. Say for example, one wonderful topic they have chosen, that is demonetization, and then whether India need presidential model of democracy or not. It is also one the current debatable issue that we have to take it as a one type of group discussion, which is topical group discussion. Second one is case studies. In this case studies where which will present the group with a complex business situation that requires a decision to be made. Such cases usually have multiple problems embedded in the given situation, and both the individual participants and the group are required to analyze the situation, identifying the problems and suggest a way out. This is one best model that they are going to use in as a type of group discussion. I'm sorry dear students, I'm a little bit of getting sweating due to that the humidity nowadays the summer season has been started, so I am getting sweating that I want to use a little bit of napkin to wash my sweating. I'm sorry for that disturbance. So here the case studies has been chosen to do the group discussion, which is also one type of group discussion in under organization and also in the company. Number three is abstract group discussion, which are called to so because they offer us no definite framework of the topic and hence no definite direction to take in the discussion. Instead, the participants are required to interrupt the topic in their own ways and demonstrate innovative thinking in doing so. Such topics could be single work or such a blue or a short cryptic sentence or even image. Contrary to popular perception, no one kind of group discussion is necessarily easier or more difficult than any other, as the quality of response in any case of depends largely on the preparation of the individual and the way they generally think, particularly when we are going to took the abstract group discussion. In this abstract group discussion, there is no such types of in detail as to be discussed in the group discussion, because group discussion we know that there are time limits is there. It will be 15 minutes, may extend it to 45 minutes. These are all the three various types of group discussion. Number one is topical group discussion, two is case studies, and then last one is abstract group discussion. Let's move on to the next slide of my PPT, where I made one question that what is the evaluation criteria in the group discussion. Making this question, it is virtually we will apparently we will must give the proper answer in this way that what type of criteria that we are going to use it out while making the evaluation, particularly in group discussion. The evaluation of participants happens in two broad perspectives: individual qualities and group skills. Individual qualities refers to the competency that you may demonstrate in or outside the context of the group. They include as follows. See, these types of competency that we are included in many way of to identify the qualities of individuals and also in the group skills. There are nearly 6 to 7 aspects is there. Aspects are there how to evaluate the criteria in the group discussion, that is content, analytical skills, reasoning skills, and then organizational skills, and then communication skills, and then last one is creativity. Let's have the elaborate discussion about what it is all about these criteria, these 6 criteria that we are going to use to evaluate group discussion itself. Number one is content. What you say during the discussion is looked into from two perspectives: relevance and comprehensiveness. It is possible that a participant has talked a great deal in a group discussion, but he or she may have deviated from the topic significantly, in which in which case the content is deemed largely irrelevant without the possibility of further evaluation. If the content has been relevant to the topic, the panel examines whether your treatment of the topics is superficial or in depth. Distinction we shall discuss in detail in the next few posts. This is what the content is all about. Without having content, I don't want to discuss the further more, because content is one which will standardize the lecture. Content is one which will standardize the group discussion. Content is one which will have the depth, and then your what you call not only depth, there is a superficial concept maybe appear to that candidate. Moving on to the second criteria where we evaluate the group discussion, that is analytical skills. The panel is of the course interested in your facts, but they also like to see whether or not you can explore the why and the how of the subject matter are to be discussed in that group discussion. This is put to the sternest test in the case study topic. When to assign the case studies to the group, they will discuss how we are going to prepare by analytical way or by using skills in the analysis way. And then next, the third criteria while using in the evaluation part, particularly in a group discussion, is reasoning skills. The panel looks at how you support your standpoints and how you respond to those of the others. How effectively you can strengthen or weaken an argument is there, how logical you are in our overall approach to the topic. This is one reasoning skill, is the best skill or best criteria that we are going to use in evaluating the group discussion. Let's move on to the next slide where the other three criteria which will give strength to evaluate the group discussion. That is organization skills. You may have the facts, the supports, and the explanation, but are you able to present them in the right order so as to maximize the impact of your good content by putting the question? The panel wants to examine this. This is how the organizational behavior skills will be appear in the way in which the support and then facts are to be appear in the organizational skills. Next one is communication skills, that you may have the exhibited all the skills stated above, but can you get your point across to someone in a simple way, not a simplistic way, that language they must understand with relevant illustration they can identify with a little bit of communication by that employee. This is one way to come to derive or come to make an evaluation of that group discussion, that what way that is communicated among the members is very much important. A last criteria of that group discussion is all about the creativity. Creativity, or you are able to bring the table a novel perspective on that topic by making that or you call the question. Can you look at the problem differently from the 10 other participants and suggest a path that where breaking solution is also one of the finest question that framing in that evaluating group discussion. This is one part of criteria that where we are questioning ourselves in the among the members. Can you interrupt an abstract topic in the ways of other cannot? If yes, the panel looks at you as someone with one of the rarest of the human qualities should be appear in that group discussion. This is how you may have observed that the above skills and then qualities can be directly applied to evaluation of group discussion, particularly in the organization. Or say for example, there is another WAT response is there, VAT response is there in this regard. See, on the other hand, the group skills are there that refer to those skills which can be only evaluated in the context of group, that includes are. There are many skills apart from these six skills by evaluating group discussion. There are other four skills that I have also taken into consideration in my presentation. That is, the other four skills are listening skills, leadership quality, body language, and then group behavior. These are all the four the other skills that where we are going to use as a criteria to evaluate the group discussion. Number one is listening skills. The panel constantly observes whether or not every participant is listening to the discussion. In my experience, most participants are concerned only with speaking and feel that they are done with the job as soon as they have spoken, which is contrary to the spirit of a discussion. There are many ways a panel may interfere that a participant is a poor listener. Such a lack of eye contact with the group or poor summary at the end. It is one of the rarest skill that the a must for a it would be a good observer to the manager. Listening skill is won by saying all the things. I don't think so. It will means at all, and then we will come up with a good result. At the same time, to make eye contact while listening is also one skill to evaluate group discussion. Moving on to the second skill that we are going to evaluate a group discussion, that is leadership quality. In highly charged discussions, one or two participants usually play the role of anchor in that they define the topic appropriately, offer the initial analysis of the keywords of the topic, and also try to hold the group together in pursuit of a common goal. Such individuals could demonstrate effective leadership and score some extra points. However, one cannot score anything extra simply because one spoke first in the group or was not loudest. See, this is what the leadership quality is all about, because those voices are to be considered moderately, and equity and then equality should be maintained in that quality itself, particularly while doing the group discussion. This is also one best skill that we are going to use as a criteria to evaluate group discussion. Moving on to the another next skill, that is body language. This is the most very important skill that we are going to use to evaluate group discussion, that is body language. If body language is not positive, and then which is not giving much give much modification in that body language, I don't think so that there should be a good self-esteem he carries in front of a group discussion, particularly among the members. What it is all about body language? While assessing the body language, the panel primarily looks at eye contact and hand movements. The speaker must maintain the consistent eye contact with the entire group as he or she speaks, and the listeners must reciprocate. If the either does not happen, you allow the panel to interfere whatever they wish to, from a lack of confidence to a lack of interest in the group discussion to the lack of concern for others, all very detrimental to the final score. Hand movements are to your speech what actually punctuation is to your writing. If used wisely, they beautifully enhance the effect of your words. If used unwisely, they attract unnecessary attention and distract the listener from your words. I recommend that you simply free your hands while talking with among the members in group discussion. Do not engage them with something pointless such as playing with the pen or tapping on the desk or running through your hair, which is commonly using by the among the female participants, because female participants are a little bit of worries about their hairs. The body has an intelligence of its own. Just leave your hands alone and focus on the topic first. The hands will starting moving naturally. Please remember that body language cannot be faked. This is very much serious as far as in the part of group discussion evaluation is considered. This is how things could be in the body language should not be faked. A skilled observer will quickly see through such a deception, just focuses on the task at hand and not body will obediently follow. The panel may also pay attention to your voice modulation. Voice modulation is one where I am using in my lecture the voice modulation, which will always attract to the stakeholders. That is very much important. The monotonous pitch may reduce the impact of even the most powerful words unless you are the Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones, when you are going to modulate this pitch, that is a very important variation that we found in our voice. Vary the pitch of your voice in order to create emphasis wherever you need. Tommy Lee Jones. See, Tommy Lee Jones. I think this is totally explanatory mark one. With this, by having this type of skill, we may evaluate group discussion as well. Let's moving on to the another last skills that we are having as a criteria to evaluate group discussion is that is group behavior. This is usually assessed in the board distinction that assertive or aggressive. Avoid the latter no matter what, and then assertiveness is the rational display of conviction of one's thoughts, while aggressiveness is a display of domination through subtitle intimidation. That assertiveness allows rooms for flexibility and then for your thinking to make your concept free to put forward in front of your among the members, which is a desired trait, while aggressiveness leads to irrational rigidity of viewpoint. Please remember that B schools are looking for sensitive individuals, not skinhead bouncers. This is keeping in mind by that either it may be the candidate or it may be the I think group discussion may in the part of students may do these types of group discussion having all these types of listening skills, leadership quality, body language, or group behavior. So, this is how we are evaluating the group discussion. Now that you know how you will be evaluated, focus on the specific areas of improvement during your practice. Group discussions where it is identified with the help of your trainer to strengthen the weaknesses, set out it would be clear goals for yourselves and do not lose the sight of them during your practice. This is all about the many issues that I have covered in this session. Let's going back to my presentation that this is what the definition and the meaning of group discussion. On the next slide, I have carried various types of group discussion, that is topical group discussions, case studies, and then abstract group discussions are three various types of group discussions are there. When you are going to evaluate group discussion, I have mentioned content, analytical skills, reasoning skills, organization skills, communication skills, and then creativity. These are all the criteria that we are going to use as a type of evaluate group discussion. And in the last slide, I have mentioned there are four skills that we are using to evaluate group discussion, that is listening skills, leadership quality, body language, and group behavior. So this is how things could be. I hope dear students, you got all the issues that in my lecture, that particularly in the group discussion. Why I have taken the lengthy lecture in this session, because group discussion is a one session that we have not only to the considered by organization or the company, but as far as in the college level, the students must have group discussion to strengthen their behavior, their thinking, and then their attitude, what we are calling self-esteem. With that self-esteem, dear students, please have your own self-esteem. With that note, I will stop here by saying in my last slide, I have taken up as a source of references. Please follow these source of references for further getting more details, particularly on the topic group discussion. So, dear students, with this, I will stop here now. Bye for now. Thank you very much for your patience listening for this lengthy lecture. Thank you very much.